is Kevin, also known as AKAAWOL, and today I am going to work on the Starburst bracelet. I've lined up my colors here already, but I haven't even began to tie any knots, so kind of bear with me. I'm not going to show the whole making of this, just because these bracelets take a particularly long time to make. But I figured I'd get kind of started and talk to you a little bit about it. When I started out, the area that is sort of like a zigzag whatever, I made it so that way you could make both sides of the bracelet separately and then join them together. It just makes the start of the bracelet come out a whole lot easier, essentially. Yeah, so this has just got 12 strings going into the loop. So you got 12 going in one side and 12 coming up the other side, which makes for a 24 strand bracelet, as most people call it. I still think 12 strings kind of makes the most sense, right? So what we do here, okay, let's see. First, the red comes all the way to the end and stops. The second one is the orange. It goes to just about the end and stops. Right? Yes. Sorry, ADHD, my brain is like running super high speeds here. You have to bear with me a little bit. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about this bracelet. I think it turns out really cool. I've heard already mentions of people who intend on making this. And yes, I'm doing the rainbow color just like the thing. Honestly, this could have been just as cool if we did it in like a fade, pick a color, whatever, and then go from lightest to darkest kind of thing. That would be pretty cool too. Okay, so the orange comes down. It stops just before the end. The red was the end one. This, and then those two colors go off to the side. I just have clips on the side of my board over here that make it so that way when I set those strings aside, they don't kind of fall back into my way. It really kind of helps speed things up a bit. So the next color is yellow. And it comes down to where the blue is, and then the blue and the yellow get set off to the side. Like I said, this is made to be kind of simple. I try to make all my patterns as easy as possible, really. There are times where to get a color to do a certain thing, or some portion of it turns out to be a bit more difficult. It's just because that was the only way to make something happen. It's not like I go out of my way to try to make deliberately difficult patterns, because God knows I have seen some out there. Boy, oh boy, some real doozies that it's like, honestly, I think there are people who submit patterns who have never actually tied knots, and they're like, sure, this will work out great, look how it goes through the colors and it does the thing, but it's just so difficult to tie. So yeah, I tend to avoid that and try to come up with my own versions of ones that I think would kind of aesthetically have the same sort of thing, but be a whole lot easier to make. So on this one, the purple comes down over the orange and leaves that red hanging out, and that red will attach to the red at the other side. So now I need to set up the other side, and I can show you how I do that. There we go, one side down. So right off the bat, I see this orange is at the top, and like both of them. So I can take them apart. Look at that, the yellow happens to be coming along pretty easily too. And the green as well. So let's take these three, carefully making sure not to get our string in a bunch. So there we have three already off to either side. Now, kinda making sure that they naturally want to be on the side that they are. I'm going to add the blue to it. Because coming out of the kumi, things can be a little bit weird. There we go, purple red. There they all are. So now it starts with the red, and I'm just going to loop that over the other 5 colors, the orange over the other 4 colors, yellow, green. Mind you, this is a very yellowishy green, which kind of adds to the brightness of the overall bracelet. I could have gone with a darker one, made the cold colors a little bit more robust, but that's one of those artistic licensings that we have. When picking out the colors, you get to go with what you feel like, and yeah, I kind of digging this whole slightly brighter look that this one has. Even the purple isn't really a dark purple, so it sort of helps lend itself to being a brighter group of colors. So I'm just going through all the colors just like before. The green, the blue, and the purple gets left out at the end. And I always like to make my knots really nice and tight up here at the top. It's sort of like the whole starting point to the whole bracelet, so keeping your tension really good at the top will definitely affect the way that the whole bracelet works as we go along. I have to be very careful to make sure I don't get the strings mixed up as we go across from the red to the orange, the yellow, oh, shoot, I got all excited. This is the left-hand side. These have to be going the other direction. Look at that. So excited about getting these things put together. So what I'm using here to take these knots out is a needlepoint needle, which is huge. These things are really super thick. Because they're less damaging to the thread itself. So we only have to take out a couple. Thank goodness I caught that as soon as I did. Any further, I would really be upset. And the orange is out. Okay. Shoot. So yeah, always keep a needle nearby. I even have a clipboard with magnets just for the sole purpose of keeping a needle nearby. Goes this way. So again, red to the orange to the yellow. Nice tight knots. The green. The blue. And the purple. Alright, back on course. And then that red goes off to the side, does not get used again until after the whole middle area is put together. So now it's the orange that comes down. The orange will go all the way to the purple, and then it zigs back to the right. So we're starting up the left knot. On the last one, it'll be a left-right. You might notice I'm wearing my glasses. When it comes to these little knots and individual strings, it is harder for me to see what I'm doing, so I need to wear my glasses. I can't do contacts because I'm absolutely terrified of things going near my eyes. I can barely put eye drops in, so it's just a thing that absolutely terrifies me. Alright, so now it's the yellow. The yellow will go down as far as the blue. These kind of zigzag ones, I think, are pretty easy because you simply go to where you like leave off at, right? So this will leave off the yellow and the blue. So then the next green coming down goes as far as the green. It's sort of a real simple visual thing that goes on with it. So yeah, I personally think these are relatively easy. It's a particular zigzag that I enjoy. It's like 5 going, like in this case, to the left, and then 3 to the right. And it makes an arrowhead, so we're going to actually have arrowheads happening in the center. I often say, like, the whole zigzag is just basically an arrowhead that you don't get to see all of it. I've made cylinder bracelets just to demonstrate that point. Bear with me, I'm going to move this up just a little bit. So I'm pretty excited about this pattern. I have had some that were similar, different number of strings, different amount of stuff going through the middle area, and this time I actually did it on video so that way everybody could kind of see how a pattern like this essentially evolves. And yeah, I was really happy about sharing that with you guys. I think that these kind of tutorials will help people get excited about making their own patterns and coming up with their own designs. So, all right, time to join the 2 sides. So essentially this joins with just this red knot right here in the middle. We want to get those lined up really nice. And then the purple comes around it. There we go. We are joined. And now it's a case of where we bring the color down just a couple knots each time and drop off the 2 each time we do it. It's like this green and orange will get set off to the side. And the yellow comes down to the yellow. Orange to the green. And then the red. And the red just makes its little tiny entrance, this little diamondy thing, and then that's the last we see of it for a while. We will, however, see the other red coming out from the middle. So that was the end of that. That was there just to make that one little diamond to offset all the other strings. And now the orange goes all the way off to the side, and it alone is out. And the yellow will come down and do a left-right off of that red. So this isn't a super difficult pattern, as long as you're good with doing all four of the knots, a left, right, and a right, left. As long as you can do all four of those, I would say this is not a very difficult pattern. It will look way more complicated because of the starburst in the center, but the difficulty in that is actually in the designing process. The actual execution of actually tying the knots is not bad. So hopefully you're encouraged to give it a try. As you can see, it's just doing each of these little rows. Already back to the purple in the center. I'll have to do the other rows on the right hand side before I can do the little red in the middle, because I can't do anything with this string until the other side is built up. But you can see, oops, purple got itself wrapped around one of the other strings. You can see this is not that bad. Hopefully you guys can do this. I need to take a break here for a second. I will come back with some sped up video for you guys, so hang in there. Okay, so I've gotten to the beginning of the where this pattern really differs from just an arrowhead. So essentially, at this point, all that's really different is we are creating chevrons, and the chevrons will pretty much take the strings in whatever sequence it's going in. It doesn't, there was no like trying to change directions or do anything. It's just letting them go whichever way they go. And I think that in a sense is exactly what makes this particular pattern so darn interesting. Is somewhere in your head there's crazy incredible math going on that we're not even aware of, right? It's all in our subconscious. So at this point, I think something in our subconscious kind of knew that the strings are going to go in an interesting sequence, and yeah, I kind of really like that a lot. I think that's what makes this pattern cool. Anyways, this continues on sorta for a while still. Got the string wrapped around my watch. It was kind of going so quickly that it kind of, the tail flung up and around and got stuck there. So sorry for screaming. Anyways, so it still goes back to the same old thing. I just thought it'd be interesting to point out how you know, it gets all the way down to that yellow before it changes colors, and then it's that little purple one, kind of green, blue, purple. It's neat. So again, I want to see you guys' versions of these things. If you make the pattern, be sure to share it with me over on Discord. It kind of decided that that's a really good place for sharing, because if I want to use it in future videos or whatever, I can just get the picture. I don't have the trouble that I would if I use Instagram, for example. So yeah, come join me over on Discord. We have a bunch of fun over there. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you can even do hangouts and stuff after the live streams. That's become a fun thing. We have a after the live stream party that usually goes on for another hour or two. So basically the live streams, I really give it my all. So when it comes to the after party, yeah, I may have a drink, I may be a little exhausted, a little bit silly. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Come join us on Patreon, and then you can join the Discord. So, all right, I'm gonna go back to speeding this up. So getting down to the center of this now, this is this is pretty cool. I thought it would be kind of fun to talk through this part here, because If you're making this yourself, there's kind of a lot that kind of happens right in the middle. It's not crazy or more difficult or anything, but I just wanted to kind of show what this part is about. And kind of excited. This has been a lot accomplished in a very short amount of time. So this whole push to do more videos has got me really back into the whole love of the actual bracelet making. Obviously, sometimes when I take on the really big projects and stuff, it becomes difficult. You know, the first day is exciting, like woohoo, I'm doing a thing. After a week, it's a woohoo, I'm doing a thing. And after about a month of it, it's like woohoo, when will this thing be done? But I shouldn't really put it like that. I really do hype myself up every day about seeing progress, and that's how I'm able to do bigger things. But as I was saying, these smaller ones, I get to see a finished product much faster, and there's something incredibly rewarding about that. Like it's exciting. So yeah, I am kind of maybe working faster than I normally do, which is, again, that's just fascinating that this is coming together so quickly. So if you look at the pattern, this thing, basically the chevrons stop with the purple one, which is my next string coming down. And at that point, we can concentrate on one side and then the other. It doesn't matter which side we do first, but we can concentrate on one side then the other until it builds itself out. And it's sort of like, at this point, coming down is relatively easy because you don't have to really count strings or how many knots it goes down. Going back the other way does take a little bit more finesse, a little more strategy or something, I guess, because you are leaving room for those other things to happen. It doesn't, this way, you're just bring the chevron down, and it does what it does. Going the other direction, you have to stop at a certain point to leave room for the zigzag part to do its thing. So I'm not sure the second half will be nearly as quick as the first. We'll see. I think there is a bit of intuitiveness to it, a bit of, you might have to look to see where the first string stops, but then you know the next three will do the same thing, so that part, not so terrible. And if you're used to looking at patterns anyways, then this will be, you know, basically no different, I would suspect. But I'm used to doing a lot of patterns, just kind of knowing what the math or whatever works out. Like this whole first half of this, like I said, is very intuitive. As long as the outer part's doing the zigzag, and once it got to the point of doing the chevrons, just follow the chevrons, do the zigzag, it works itself out. So yeah, but here it is. This is the purple that makes the big X in the middle. And you can see the whole inside of this pattern is really very cool. The whole Starburst thing is spectacular. So now we're still doing the zigzag, right? This yellow comes in for 3. So when I say 3, there's a knot already there, so that's just 2 more. This is number 2, and this is the 3rd. So there's 3 in that little row. So now this blue comes down. And the blue actually goes straight into another blue. So we get a chance we can just go straight at it. We don't even have to put the little zigzag thing at the end. We'll just let it go straight. But kind of like how we were doing before, like when we were starting out with the zigzag, each one of these, like once it comes to this point, the purple is done with, these 2 blues here are done with. So basically we can set them off to the side as we concentrate on this side over here. So the orange makes its little, it's not really a diamond, I don't know what this is, it just kind of comes in a little bit. And then it goes back. And then the yellow will come all the way off to the side. So the yellow's off. And then comes this orange. This orange will go down into this green string, which is, you know, next to where the blue left off at, right? And you can see like this part here, it sort of feels like it just gets faster and faster because each one of the rows is just a little bit shorter and shorter. Okay. This red goes down to the other red. And I've used this red an awful lot, so letting it switch over will be a good thing. Because the other red didn't get used as much, so we can let them trade up. We did it with the blue probably didn't matter, but this red one definitely felt like it was getting much shorter. So that's pretty cool. And now we have, and oh, both of those reds fall off, right? So the next one's a little bit shorter still. Orange comes down, 1, 2, and 3. And switches back because we need it to go the other way back again. And now the yellow will just do a quick little dip in and head back again. And so now it's a matter of getting all of these strings to do essentially what we just did in reverse. So this will come down to the purple, right? Because that yellow is what's going to come back, right? So we come down to there. The red comes down to the purple. The orange comes down. blue. So now we know that the yellow comes up to the blue and changes directions. We can actually see that from the other side. Three and four. All right, and now we can do the little orange thing here. And I'm going to swap the oranges just because I can. They cross over each other. I can go straight with this one and then back with this one, because that orange got used an awful lot. It made the whole big thing over here. So we can actually trade the two and let the longer one take the lead. So now the yellow comes back and bounces, and that is going to tell us exactly where that purple one ends. So you can see it's maybe a little counterintuitive, but yet it should pretty much be easy for you to figure out like what is going on. Like, and essentially all I have to do now is follow exactly what I did on the right side. I have to do over on the left side, and we will be at the point where the chevrons are going the other direction. And yeah, we just followed that down for a little bit. The colors will match exactly what was up here, so that kind of gives us a little bit of a helping hand when it comes to knowing where things happen, what happens with it. So yeah. And the purple just goes straight into this orange thread and is done. So there we go. The right hand side's done. I'm going to go ahead and speed things back up and get the other side done. Okay, so now we are back where the yellow comes in and connects with itself. So essentially at this point, it's kind of just a race to the end, really, right? I mean, it's back to being a regular arrowhead bracelet. So the area before, like where I was saying, like maybe it'd be a little bit harder, turns out it really isn't. There's, you know, you just do the couple rows, and then the thing comes across. I mean, okay, I did double check and make sure that I was like going to the right color to stop or whatever, but it was a lot more, intuitive than I kind of gave it credit for. So yeah, if you're thinking about doing one of these, I would definitely say this was not that difficult at all. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. This bracelet will be over in my shop. It's kind of like basically it's a first come first serve, so I can't guarantee that by the time you're watching the video, like that somebody else didn't buy it, but there's a chance. I mean, go check out what is available. A lot of stuff that was made on a video or in a live stream and stuff are all in there, and it's all there for buying, which would definitely help support the channel. By the way, you can help support the channel I mentioned these things that cost money, right? Patreon, that's money. The buying stuff, that's money. But you can do other stuff too. You can hit like on the videos. You can share the videos. Leaving comments actually even helps a bit. When Google sees comments being made, they're like, oh look, he's the audience is engaged. Maybe it's so awesome, I'll share it with more people. So that even like the little things like that can all help out a lot. So leave a like, leave a comment. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe. I'm really trying. My big goal is to try to get this channel up to 4,000 subscribers. That's my next big milestone that I'm shooting for. So if you guys can help get me up to that, that would be fantastic. My thought is we get up to 4,000 subscribers, then it just takes all the subscribers just to listen to 1 hour, and we can have the channel monetized. Right? Once we're monetized, we start making some money at this, we can do some giveaways. So maybe like the bracelets I am making will end up being something that at the end of the video I just give it away. Like that I think would be really super fun. And yeah, we could do that. That's my goal. That's what I'm hoping for. Oh, that's another thing you could do. You could like, this is an intermediate bracelet, so you could go into, if you're like into that kind of thing, you could go and check out the intermediate playlist and just like let YouTube run with like loads and loads of videos, and that could help the channel out too, because then we'd have those watch hours. We wouldn't even have to worry about hitting the 4,000 subscribers, so that would be cool. All right, I'm going to speed this up again. Let me stop for a sec. Wow, you guys stuck it out the whole video, so cool. Bonus for you guys making it this far. Or you skipped ahead, didn't you? That's okay. That's okay. This is it all finished. The bracelet is really, really cool. The starburst in the middle really makes this something very, very different from just a regular arrow's head. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully I've inspired you. Hopefully you will go on to create something even better. I suspect this would look great in a lot of different color combinations, so give it a try. The pattern is available over on my website, and the links and all that kind of stuff will be in the description, so you can go and check that out, as well as the video of me creating the pattern, so you can actually see how I did that and possibly go and create some patterns for yourself, right? Yeah, I think this turned out really good, and I'm really impressed. So, all right, thanks guys, and as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.